A case on defamation, presented by Renee Robinson. Today I'm going to review the two sides associated with a defamation case with Sullivan versus New York Times. Sullivan is the plaintiff who says he was defamed with accusations of promoting terror against civil rights movement participants in the South. Some of the particulars that were mentioned in an article by New York Times, or no, it wasn't actually an article, it was actually an advertisement by New York Times, showed that there were some things that were not true. Accuracy of the report was not researched, and they admitted that. Since plaintiff was over the police department, he feels the accusations of the terror were aimed at him. Without a doubt, such accusations put New York Times in a negative position. Here are the facts. 3 commissioners were plaintiffs against New York Times because of a full page that was entitled Heed Their Rising Voices. The ad proposed that an unprecedented act of terror against those who participated in the civil rights movement in the South was going on. And some of the facts were found not to be true. The act did not mention the plaintiff's name directly. The question comes up then, does a plaintiff need to be specifically named in the publication, or can identity be inferred? In this case, it was right here. Gower says, a defamatory statement is one that holds a person up to public hatred, ridicule, or scorn. That was actually the problem that Sullivan was having with New York Times. In civil rights movement, if anybody was found on the opposite side of promoting civil rights, there was a possibility of hatred, ridicule, and public scorn that would be a threat to he and his family, or even those that associate with him. Not naming him was not necessarily a way of preventing everybody from knowing it was Sullivan they were referring to, but because he was over the department of the police, it was inferred that he was who they were referring to. So this is how he won. When we speak of libel, we are referring to those things that are written, which is more permanent and considered something that just doesn't go away. You can bring back writings, but words that are just flown out the mouth, that are not recorded, that is, they can be gone because it's he said, she said. But what's in writing sticks around. So New York Times was found liable in Sullivan's case, and he was awarded $500,000. This is because slander was something that wasn't even part of this, simply because this was a written advertisement. Now, while indirectly accused, the only ones to blame, even if names were not used, was those in authority. He, Sullivan, was the one of 3 commissioners in authority over the police. Malice is the cause. This intent to bring harm to someone, to say it in a way that others will change their minds and start to think negative or ill of someone. Malice was intended since it was written with the intent to expose and bring public scrutiny to those indirectly, since no one was actually named. Even the U.S. Supreme Court decision held this up even after appeal. Here is why. The Supreme Court of the United States holds that the Constitution delimits a state's power to award damages for libel and actions brought by public officials against critics of their official conduct. So in this case, the rule requiring a proof of actual malice is applicable. Malice inferred. It was all because the malice that was placed out there to bring this public scrutiny against those in civil rights. Now, civil rights is important, and it has been a vital part of even my life. And some of the things that this malice inferred shows is that you don't necessarily have to name people's names. You can make it obvious of who you're referring to. You can say that lady in the red dress, and she could have been the only lady in the red dress in the room. And if pictures were taken and the story was written, we see who the lady in the red dress is. And anybody that's familiar with her would know that's who you were talking to. And those who are not would have an image that they could follow and find out. So it's important that when these things are written, that the information is correct to the best of our ability. And when it comes to my PR career, I'm going to make sure that I do my research and I keep up with what rules FTC places. Consider the Constitution and the rights of others, and make sure that all of the information that is reported or used for advertising are all accurate to the best of my abilities. We can't always be perfect inside of that. But some of those things that we list, we can't run into deadlines and say, oh, I have to hurry up and get this story through. I'm going to make sure that in my future, as a PR person, professional, that I will make sure I research and advise accordingly. It's not just my clients' reputations on the line, it's also mine. And my honesty and integrity with how I run my business is going to be vital to be reputable for someone to even continue in my career. So this lesson has taught me with Sullivan versus New York Times, even though it was a fragile time and there was some feelings of discord about what was going on, even those who we feel are responsible, we have to actually prove that they are or that they are not and record it accurately. It's important to do this because inside of all of this, there's more than one person's life involved. There's more than how who it will affect. It's not just me or not just my client. It's everybody involved. This guy's life was probably in jeopardy because of what was believed about him. And to get that win allowed for more freedoms to be expressed, that he can express, you can express your freedoms, but inside of expressing yourselves in the United States, you still need to be accurate with your accusations and be correct and fair in your judgments. So this is where I have picked up for my future as a PR professional. Thank you.